What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Frank&LoShow. You can be a lot of places, but if you ain't here, you ain't nowhere.
That's right. What's up, Frank? Hey, this your boy Lo. Hey, welcome to the show. Here we go. What up, Frank?
What's up, Lo? What's on the agenda today?
Man, what we're gonna be cooking up, man. We're gonna do this this Boule, the Black Boule. You know, it's not really exposing, just want to make people aware what's going on with the Boule and people that we think are heroes and what's the whole agenda. Pretty much it's more of the agenda. We're gonna talk about Mr. Great late Steve Cokley, show a few videos, and then kind of just expound on some things. So this video is for only educational purposes only. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that sub button. And then we're just going to go from there, Franco.
Cool, man. Cool. I hope everybody got notebooks, notepads, video recorders. This is going to be a very this segment going to be very informational. So
Oh yeah. Definitely it is. Sorry, I know it's going to be it definitely is. So we just going to definitely have to hit it. Just a quick overview of it. You know, I don't know if you want to get into it. I could get into it. It don't really matter.
Yeah. It's on you, baby.
Okay. Well, you know, pretty much the Black Boule, which is known as the Sigma Pi Phi chapter, they was established May 15th, 1904. There was, I believe it was 6 members, 4 doctors, 1 dentist, and 1 pharmacist, something like that. And the whole organization was for college-educated Black men to kind of So it was basically like what most fraternities of Divine Nine are: networking, establishment, jobs, you know, to keep the career uplifted. So I think when it started out, it really meant well. But I'm not gonna go too much into it. I'm gonna let the great Steve Cokley kind of talk a little bit about it. But before I play this video, Frank, you got anything you want to chime in?
No, man. I'm just ready to see the video, man, like everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna drop it real quick. All right.
We went this way.
Okay, pass it back up in there. I don't think it made it back there, and then it did.
Yeah, it's been around.
Okay, then let's somebody from the Good Life come and pick the bucket up.
Yeah.
A brother asked about Carter G. Woodson and W.B. Du Bois. W.B. Du Bois was the founding member of the New York chapter in 1911. The concept of the talented 10th developed at a speech that he gave on behalf of the Boule, which was that the Boule represented the elite of the Black elite, the college-trained man. There was no other Black man of influence than this emerging college-educated Black man. And so this college-educated Black man was put in or used by a lot of other people. W.B. Du Bois took it upon himself, and in the lecture on Black-Jewish relations, Africa 93, we talked about W.B. Du Bois' role in attacking Marcus Garvey. Well, it was deeper than we ever thought. We found out that the Harlem Renaissance, in fact, was a distraction established by Jewish philanthropy to deter Africans from back to Africa to get involved in poetry, art, science, music, as a distraction and a diversion from the goals and aspirations of Marcus Garvey. Du Bois, along with the first Black Rhodes Scholar, Elaine Locke, who was 1908 to 1910. There was not another Rhodes Scholar till 1963. That Elaine Locke was a part with Du Bois of humiliating Marcus Garvey by calling them names like gorilla, dark, dumb masses, and they hedged their bet. We have found documentation where Du Bois and Elaine Locke had stated clearly that we hope this white man delivers because we've crushed a great black thing. But we know the white man will be delivered or our people will attack us and plague us forevermore. You didn't know that they played and hedged their bet that Marcus Garvey was wrong about the white man. Marcus Garvey was not wrong about the white man. And by never telling you who they are, you can never hold them responsible for the bet they made when they put the money to win on the white man. Carter G. Woodson, years after being a Boule, wrote a book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Years after having been used in the founding member of the D.C. Boule in 1908. knew that education, see, these were college. The key to all of these men were college education. So when he saw it and saw what had happened to him, he said we were miseducated by the damn thing. It was a fix. And that was coming to expose something that he had been. Du Bois, years after being left to dry by the Boule, left to dry by the NAACP, whose leader, Joel Spingard, and his mentor had been a spy for military intelligence, which came out in the Memphis Commercial Appeal story, that showed that Du Bois, too, years later sought to repent for what he had done. But he never exposed the Boule. He only personally felt humiliated for having bet wrong. And that's why we had to know that they made a bet, that there was an organized cross-out.
So he never nullified his membership in the Boule.
He never told the secrets related to the Boule. Hold on just a second, brother. Yes, brother.
All right, what you were saying earlier at the beginning, all right, listening to all of this, and I heard you on the radio Monday morning. All right, now, there's going to be out of all of us, or even if we compare it to the mass populace, there's going to be 80% of us. And if you show them the truth and put it right in front of their face, they still are going to deny it. They ain't going to want to admit up to it. They don't give a shit about it, pardon me, ladies. They don't give a damn about it.
All right, okay, Frank. Wow. So, what'd you take from that?
Man, took a lot, man. Actually, when he talk about the to the viewers and the listeners, and when he talking about the talented 10th, to the people who don't know what the talented 10th is, those are the 10% of the educated black men and women who are supposed to govern over the 90% of the uneducated, uncivilized black men and women.
Awesome.
So, yeah, yeah, and also another underlining thing that I did my research on, that they with the talent and tenth, right? They also, the powers that be at that point in time, they had all their names and addresses so they can know what and watch these talented 10. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't want them around the other 90%. And I'm guessing that's why they started moving the talented 10th in certain cities out of the hood. They ain't want them to be no example, because at one point in time, it was an example to stay. You know, my next door neighbor was a doctor. My neighbor that stayed across the street from me was a psychiatrist, and the one that stayed to the right was an RN, and then the next house over was a college professor. And so in those communities, I mean, it gave the other little kids who was broke, who stayed down the street, you know, it gave them you know, a possibility, or gave them hope, just to know, I know Dr. such and such. And you know, back in those times, and even now, you know, if you see a little kid and you're gonna sow some seeds in them, come on, man. I see something in you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna bring you along. Even though, forget about your dad a drunk, forget about your mama a prostitute, I'm gonna bring you to the doctor office. I'm gonna get you your first lab coat. So they kind of, with the talented 10, they kept them away from the other 90%. And it's sad, you know what I'm saying? It's really sad.
Right. No, I agree, and I'm glad that you broke that down in that way, because that was a talented 10, and you hit it right on. But what I took a few things, and I don't want to steal any thunder. You know, that I definitely took that, but I also took that it was these talented 10 had to bet on the white man, because Garvey and everybody else was doing the whole back to Africa Black Power, and they didn't want that, because they were said to believe, or it's believed, that, you know, the powers that be, the white men in that time, which was Woodrow Wilson and Teddy Roosevelt, hey, look here, we're gonna give you guys these crumbs. but we need you to manage your own. We don't want you to go back to Africa and talk that Africa crap, you know. So you take care of your own pretty much, and we're gonna let you guys know our secrets. Pretty much, the Boule was pretty much aligned with the white power structure. If you really just look at it like that, that's how it was. You know, the white power, and that these people, these 10%, they knew all the secrets. They knew all the bodies was buried at. So they just had to keep us at bay. Kind of like, I don't like to use the word Uncle Tom because Uncle Tom was a hero to me, but more on some Sambo type stuff. That's what we get it, or the house Negro. So did you also catch what he said? Well, I didn't even know, and I've seen this video several times. I didn't know that the Jews was behind the white, the Jews was behind the Harlem Renaissance. I got to go back and look at that and do more research because the Harlem Renaissance was one of my best periods that I would like to read about with.
I knew that they financed a lot of that because that's one of my favorite time periods too. You know,
right.
They financed a lot of the black businesses back then. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And then that's, you know, that's around the time with Bumpy Johnson and all of them, right? And so you know, they were just, I guess, you know, I'm gonna let them Negroes, you know, have their numbers running and they alcohol running, and but I do know, yeah, a lot of the Jews, they financed that, man, to try to keep us here, and yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that's I'm gonna let the viewers know, the followers know just a little bit more about it. But that's great. Before I get into another video, but I want to kind of just give a brief overview now, more about it. It was 6 founding fathers, like I said earlier, 4 doctors, which is a great profession in 1908 for a black man, 1 dentist and 1 pharmacist. It was Henry Minton, Algernon Jackson. Who else was it?
Howard. Edwin Howard.
Yeah. Howard.
Richard J. Warwick, and
Eugene.
Yeah, it was Eugene. It was Eugene Henson, and it was Henry McKee Minton. And
I said Henry.
You said Minton.
Yeah, okay. It's all good though. It's all good. Yeah, but yeah. So those were the 6 founding fathers, Sigma Pi Phi. Like I said, they were college black educated men. They were funded and were really led by W.E.B. Du Bois. This is what Steve Cokley was saying earlier, but W.E.B. Du Bois knew he sold us out. Everybody look up to, that's your hero, and I know they teach about all that good stuff in Black History Month, but if you really know it, he really wasn't. Speaking of Black History Month, he even said what Carter G. Woodson did. Carter G. Woodson was part of it, and he was the founder of Black History Month. Now let's think about that for a second. We only get to celebrate Black History Month 1 month out of 12 months, or 11 months or 12 months. Why only 1 month? Because they only was giving us a piece of the pie to keep the black people happy. So now you see what Black History Month really come from and what's behind it. If we really open our eyes and really see, we be like, okay, because there's a lot of good people that was part of the Boule that did some great things and were actually considered heroes. Now, I don't think they played an agenda like W.E.B. Du Bois and Carter G. Woodson. I think they were just so well at what they did, and it looked good for the organization to get a lot of strength behind them. For example, if you and I start a fraternity, we're going to go out there and recruit men that are doing great things to make our fraternity stronger. So I don't want to say everybody in the Boule were bad and were trying to keep their own people down, but, you know, that ought to tell us we should do our research when we get ready to join these organizations, whether it's fraternity, Mason, sorority, Eastern Star. We really got to see if that align up with our agendas, but I don't want to get off subject and get off track with that. I'm gonna name a few names. That was some. There's plenty of people. I'm just gonna name a few. Charles Drew. We know what he did. The plasma. It was Ralph Bunch. You know what? He was the first Black Nobel Peace Prize. Wilkinson Macy. All right, we just saw this movie with Oppenheimer called about the Dirty Bum, not the Dirty Bum. Well, guess what? People don't know the Manhattan Project had 2 black lead scientists, and it was Wilkinson and Macy. They were actually on it. That's pretty impressive. I probably would want them to be members too. So I'm not saying those guys are bad people because they did some extraordinary things. They're still heroes in my book. But I'm just talking about, like I said, the Boule, what their agenda was, but not everybody in the Boule they knew about that agenda. That makes sense, Frank?
All the time. I mean, even though Martin Luther King, well, Michael Lewis King, for those who don't know, look that up. That's a jewel. I hope y'all look who that is. Look up who is Spelman. Look up who that is. And that's the two jewels I want y'all to look up. Look up Spelman College. Look up their last name. And it's gonna lead you somewhere.
Well, I thought Spelman College, we're going off subject, but since you brought it up, was after Rockefeller's mama. And Howard was but I didn't think Rockefeller was a Jew. He was a Jew?
No, but you know what? They got a lot of their money from the Rockefeller Foundation. His money been turning.
Okay.
His money been turning that long, and the curriculum.
Okay,
education curriculum.
I know we don't want to get off subject because that's a whole different thing. Because I could talk about how they set that one guy they didn't want the World Federal Bank, and they put him on the Titanic, and they got his butt knocked out. But we ain't gonna talk about J.P. Morgan and Rockefeller on this podcast.
Yes.
But we are gonna get into that because that all ties in from the 1900s to the 1920 is what really shaped everything that we do. Is a timeline, and we'll put that timeline together for you guys, but not right now because it's really interesting from 1900 to 1930 what happened. If you really, but we're gonna get into that, but not now. But yeah, thanks, Frank. But yeah, just today there's over 5,000 active members in the Boule. There's over 139 chapters, and 50% of the black men that were in Congress, U.S. Congress, were Boule. And I think one of, obviously John Lewis, the great John Lewis, but I think only one that's in there now was Clyburn. And I'm not going to put my opinion about Clyburn. I actually know some. I was in the Marine Corps with some of his people. It was one of my good friends. But I feel some kind of way about that. But we could talk about that another day. But
you might well say Reggie Jackson, Al Sharpton too.
Yeah. But they non-relevant. And the only reason I bring Clyburn because Clyburn has played an integral part of the U.S. president today. Joe Biden would not be the U.S. president, in my humble opinion, if it weren't for Clyburn. I don't know if you remember in 2019, late 2019, when Joe Biden was getting his butt kicked in every category. I think Kamala ate him up. It was a lot of people that was getting his polls. I mean, I wish I could find that clip. And all of a sudden, when Clyburn said, because Clyburn is head of the, I forgot what committee, but I think he's probably head of the Congressional Black Caucus, which they don't even allow no black Republicans in there, by the way. That's a different story. But anyway, and he said, we're going to go ahead and back you up with the DNC. And when they did that, old Joe shot up. But there was a deal under the table that was made. All right, Joe, we make you president. You're going to have to make Kamala your vice president. Because you remember Kamala and Joe didn't like it. Remember, Kamala called him racist, called him a pedophilia, and now, so anyways, that's why to this day, if you ever see Jill Biden and Kamala, they don't have no kind of whatsoever. But anyways, we kind of drifted a little bit, but we're gonna get back.
No.
I was just
that was informative because you just told me something that I didn't know. You made me look at some other stuff now.
Right.
Our viewers need that.
Right. But yeah, so. Like I said, go do your research on it. Not everybody, we're saying not everybody in the Black Boule were bad. That's not what Frank and myself are not saying. We just saying the principal foundation was to keep the 10% elite black people over the 90%, and always to keep the black wealth with the 10%, not allowing. That's why all these people, the reason we haven't got, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a Sunday preacher, but the reason we haven't got our reparations it's not because of the white man. It's not because of Congress. The black people that's in Congress, they'll float a bill to make them think that we're going to get, because there is a House bill out there. I'm not going to tell you the number, the name. Go do your research. There's a House bill that's been out there for almost 30 to 40 years.
Man, give it to him. Give it to him.
I think the Republican out of Texas actually is the head forefront. But there is a bill, but that's what just floated. If you go read the bill, it doesn't say that. It just talks about that we should get it. It don't put a specific number in there. It just talks about it. It's just to keep us happy. It's to give us that lollipop to give us hope. But so it's not President Joe Biden they take care of their own. Like when all these Afghan refugees came over, a lot of these people, they all got reparations. They're all their own people. They pay their people, the Ukrainians. Certain amount of black elite don't want the rest of the black population to get that. That's why they pushed in 1964 to 68 to change our name to African American, which is not that. Our name done changed over 8 times since, I want to say, they started doing census in 1790 or something like that. You know, we went from American Indian, Negro, mulatto, black, colored, you know, you know, now African American, and that was the whole reason for it. But anyways, that's another podcast as well. But I guess it all kind of ties into it. But like I said, just on an overview, Franco, Black Boule had good intentions. The founders were all great men. But when W.E.B. Du Bois was contacted by the white elite, which I'm going to talk in this next video, which you're going to find out when you see who he exposed and who was in charge of it. Matter of fact, I'm just going to play the video and we'll talk about it. How about that? Anything else, Frank?
Excellent. No.
Hold on. Okay. All right. This is a 3-minute video.
This is one of our best shows.
Radio right here in LA. And my friends jumped him because we jumping them in every city. And when they jumped him, he said the Trilateral Commission ain't done nothing. But the Trilateral Commission went to the president and had him set up the annual economic summit starting in '76, France. So when you listen to how your destiny of your country, they say, rides on that meeting, you wonder how Rowan could make such an allegation. But knowing as a Boule in Washington, D.C. Epsilon chapter, his goal is to never speak of the high, white, and mighty whom the Boule, all 3,300, are sworn to protect. Yes, these brothers that we are pushing up against the wall have taken a sworn oath that they will never expose the whites that they know actually run the world. They, in ambition and in deference to liberation and respect of the race, have agreed to maintain the status quo of white supremacy, which has 2 levels of white supremacy: a local, limited, parochial side, the Ku Klux Klan, the Reardons, the Kenny Hans, the local clans, but has a powerful, more mighty upper crust, which probably would include Occidental Petroleum and Arco and Exxon and Mobil Oil and the Rockefeller Foundation and other influential, wealthy families and institutions. So what we're talking about is, why haven't you heard of those people who are in the secret society? It's because the people who you look to, who you would most suspect would tell you, have sworn that they never will. And because of that, that leaves the sub-leadership, the other group of people that you like a lot, that leaves them to tell you, the heads of the various organizations as you know them. But if you've listened to them, they have never said of these black men, for that they did not know. Which means that Malcolm, we know, knew of these men. We know Marcus Garvey knew of these men, because their crowning, most outstanding achievement was the physical elimination and castigation of Marcus Garvey, and the insistence and the climate setting that brought about the death of Malcolm X. For both of those men, international in perspective and insight, were a threat to the very whites that they're sworn to protect. You don't get killed for any other reason than jeopardizing the whites of the whites that run the world. Martin King, who was a Boule, met the bullet, not for the civil rights thing, but
I had to stop it right there. I mean, that's powerful. I can't even really say nothing after that. What you got?
I really ain't got a whole lot, man. I mean, cause man, he said it. He said a mouthful, man. But I did. I had came across something like that race riot in 1919 in Chicago, where in the daytime they was hunting blacks, but then at nighttime the blacks was hunting the white people, and those was a lot of the soldiers, and they wasn't playing in Chicago at that time period, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's same thing, but it really didn't have a lot to do with the Black Boule
No,
because around that time it was a lot of that going on. They just hid Houston, the Tulsa, the Chicago, but that's a whole that's different because
subject, yeah.
there was a reason that led up to that. So, but I can't really say no more after that last video. But I was wanted you to pay attention to who was behind it with the trial. He named them Trilateral Commission and all that, so we see who's funded. So, anyways. I'm gonna leave it at that because that was a great segment, great video. I don't have anything, but hey, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long for most, but it's more, like I say, educational purposes. I didn't create that video. I got that video from I believe blackpass.org. So but I'll add all those in the box below. But what you got, Frank?
Nothing much, man. I just want to say, I just to all the viewers out there, man, just drop y'all comments on some things that you may want us to speak about, or if you have any questions about anything such as this. We love us. We not promoting no violence, no nothing negative at all. Nothing negative. Just all informational purposes. So we just trying to bring awareness.
Yeah, good deal. Love it. All right, well, hey, you guys have a good one. Franco, I'll holler at you, bro.
Peace and blessings, man.
Peace and blessings.